Hey everybody, Al here from BC Extreme Outdoorsman. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for watching all my moose hunting videos this fall. So today I'm going to do a video on MOA and mil radian. So mil and MOA is an angular measurement. Mil stands for mil radian or milliradian, and MOA stands for minute of angle. Now, just a quick description of what each of them are. They are angular of measurement. So if you took a 360 degree circle and each degree has 60 minutes of angle, that's 360 times 60, that gives you 21,600 MOA in a circle. And that's where you get minutes of angle from. Now mil radian, a little more confusing to me anyways. But if you took that same circle and divided it into 6.3 sections, each with a 57 degree angle to make a circle, and added 1,000 milliradians to each radius, that would give you a total of 6,280 mils in that circle. And that's how we base off our unit of measurements here for shooting. So 1 minute of angle, hope you can see that up there. 1 minute of angle equals 1 inch at 100 yards roughly. It's actually 1.047 of an inch. Now, most of the time we don't take that into account unless we're shooting extreme long range. If you're shooting within 1,000 yards, you should be okay. And 1 mil radian, or 1 mil, equals 10 centimeters at 100 meters, or 3.6 inches at 100 yards. I always use mil radians now. I got one more scope that is in MOA, and I'm going to change that over here soon. So MOA are a finer adjustment. Each click is 0.25 of an inch at 100 yards. And mils are 3.6 inches at 100 yards. So you got that little bit of a difference there in adjustments between MOA and mils, but it obviously doesn't make much of a difference because mils everybody uses in competition, as I wouldn't say they're easier to use. I used to shoot MOA in competitions, but due to everybody else shooting mils, I now shoot mils in competition, and as well in hunting. I'm switching all my hunting rifles over. I only got one left, and I'll get that out later and show you guys what it looks like. So MOA is 1 inch at 100 yards. So that'll be 4 clicks on your dial. 200 is 2 inches. 300 is 3 inches. 400 is 4 inches. So 1 MOA at 400 yards is 4 inches. And at 1,000 yards, 1 MOA is 10 inches. And with mils in yards, it's 3.6 inches. And 200 is 7.2, 10.8. You're basically just timesing it by 3. So 3.6 times 3 is 10.8. And basically what you're doing there to get the inches in mils. In mils, 100 meters, 1 mil equals 10 centimeters, or 3.9 inches, because 100 meters is 110 yards. So that'll increase that number by 0.3. So at 20 centimeters, you're at 2 MOA, and that'll be 200 meters. 300 meters is 30 centimeters, 400 meters is 40 centimeters, and 100 meters is 100 centimeters. I zero my rifles at 100 meters. 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. If you zero your gun at 200 yards in MOA, each click is going to be 0.5 of an inch instead of 0.25 of an inch. And with mils, instead of one click being 1 centimeter, one click is going to be 2 centimeters at 200 meters. I hope I'm not confusing you guys here. And so then at 300 meters, one click is going to be 3 centimeters. And so on until you go out. There's 2 different kinds of scopes. There's first focal plane and second focal plane. I like to use first focal plane now. I do have one second focal plane scope, and I'm going to be selling that here shortly as I'm moving all the first focal plane. The big difference between first focal plane and second focal plane. First focal plane, the reticle is in front of the erector, which is the turret. The second focal plane, it is behind. With it being behind, when you adjust your variable power, the reticle stays the same size, which means that if you're going to range, which I'll go over that in a bit, with your reticle, you're going to need to probably be on the highest setting. With a first focal plane scope, your reticle is going to move up and down with your power. It's going to get from smaller to bigger. So it doesn't matter what power you are on a first focal plane scope. Why they're more expensive, I don't know, but it must have something to do with the cost of making them. Okay, so if you're going to range with that reticle, saying it's you can range with MOA, but I'm ranging with a mil now because that's what I'm using. So there's a couple formulas here. Distance in yards. It's quite simple. It's target in inches divided by angle in MRAD, which is what you come up with when you range that target by taking the top of the target and the bottom of the target, putting it in between your reticles, and coming up with a number 0.61, whatever you get, the height of the target. Then you times it by the constant of 27.78, and that is to get yards. And so if you got a 15-inch target and I ranged it at 0.6 mils in my reticle, I'm going to 15 divided by 0.6 times 27.78 is 694.5 yards. Do the same in meters, except all the same, except the constant now is 25.4. So if we do the math, 15 divided by 0.6 times 25.4 comes out to 635 meters. If you turn 635 meters into yards, you're going to get that number there, 694.5, or vice versa, you'll get 635. 1 mil is 1 meter at a distance of 1,000 meters. 1 mil is 1 yard at a distance of 1,000 yards. 1 mil is 1 inch at a distance of 1,000 inches. Now, if I look at this next picture, you can see the target there, and you can see where the zero aim is, and you can see where that 3-shot group is. So I got to come over 6 centimeters to the right and up 4 centimeters. I'm going to dial on my elevation turret 4 clicks up, and it's usually going to be in the counterclockwise rotation, all depends on your scope. And I'm going to come 6 clicks right. So I'm going to dial 6 clicks right, and that should put me on 0, theoretically. Okay, I'm going to get out a couple rifles here, and we're going to look at the scopes. I'm not going to bother looking at the reticles because there's so many different reticles. You can just go online to look at those. But I did have one friend ask me online. He said, you're dialing up 2.7 with my 338 Lapua. What does that mean? I have the Kestrel here. When I'm dialing 2.7, I was actually shooting at 500 meters that day. And I dialed 2.7. That is what this called for. 2.7 mils a dial up. So I dialed past the 2, and then I'd go count 7. Well, I'd go to the 5 and then go 2 past the 5. So it makes 2.7. I'll show you on a dial on a turret here in a second. It seems confusing, but it's not. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Okay, everybody, just to show you the scope here. Here's a 338, and you can see the turret there. It's set on 0. So when I was shooting at 500 meters that time, and I was asked what 2.7 was, there's 2, there's the 5, 6, 7. So I dialed 2.7 and engaged that target at 500 meters for the environmentals on that day, and seen I hit. I'm going to go for the ram's head. 2.7, eh? Okay, let's do this. Okay, that was a hit. So basically that is MRAD right there, and it says right there 0.1 MRAD for each click. And that's going up, going counterclockwise, like I said, on the thing there. And this here, holy cow, that was kind of tight. And as you can see, that is set for, well, I think it's like 0.1 off 0, but I know that's on 0. I just didn't want to zero the turret after. And really like the cap turrets. So that is the Mil-Radian scope, first focal plane. Okay, so here is the MOA scope. The only one I have left, but you can see that dial there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm at 1 MOA, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm at 2, and it just keeps going up from there. So, whereas the mills had each click, before I got to 1, I had 10, and it says right there 0.25 MOA per click at 100 meters, or 100 yards, sorry, for this one. And yeah, and that's that scope. Okay, everybody, thank you for watching. And like I said before, I really appreciate everybody that's been supporting my channel and watching and commenting. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I hope I covered everything in this video and it wasn't too confusing. Thanks everybody for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the notifications button so you don't miss any of the future content. And take care, everybody, and we'll see you soon.